In this video we're going to learn how to factorize quadratics. So here's 3 examples here and we'll be doing them in a few moments. But just one thing to point out, I'm not going to need any room to do them. I'm going to do them all in one line right underneath. So first I'd like to explain how I'm going to do that. And I'd like to explain a little about what factorising is. But then I will show you how to do all of these. But it is a little bit of an art form. You have to do a lot of work in your head. Not a lot really, just some multiplication and addition in your head. And we'll be doing the next 2 videos on questions like this, factorising, mostly in your head. But then after that, I'll show you a much more general way that you could solve this every time using either a formula or a method. But for now, let's do factorisation. So what is factorisation? Factoring, if you remember back to your primary education and earlier in your secondary education, a factor of something is something that will multiply to make it. That mightn't be too clear. So let me just use a very simple example. Pick a number 6. 6 is equal to 2 multiplied by 3. 2 and 3 are factors of 6. They can be multiplied together to make 6. That's if we think of whole numbers. Don't worry, you don't have to think of whole numbers from now on. So I guess 6 has infinite factors. Don't worry if that didn't make sense. Another way to say this is I have factorized 6 into these 2 parts. And that's what we're going to do, but instead of with just one simple number, I'm going to do it with this entire line, these 3 terms. I might often do it with less terms, and in a future part, 2 videos from now, we'll do it where there's only 2 terms of quadratics. It's not always possible to do it. It's certainly not always possible to do it in your head. Let me see. So for the most part, we're going to be given a question and we're going to, in our own head mostly, turn it into 2 factors. Like that. We'll take 6 and turn it into 2 factors. That's what I'm going to do here. Take this and put it into 2 factors. It won't be as simple as 2 and 3. It will have an x in it, it will have a number in it. But we'll see where in a minute. That's really what we're doing. That's what factorising a quadratic does. Now we will use these. This is extremely useful. I'll just say it now, because if this equals 0, then this equals 0. And what's really useful at that is the only way to get something to equal 0 when we multiply is if one of them is equal to 0. So that lets us say that this is either equal 0 or this is equal 0. Either one will work. So we'll get 2 answers for x. So that's why this is so useful, factorising a question. It lets us get an answer really easily. Okay, so how do I factorise these questions? Well, first of all, I've made it a little easy for myself. This entire video will only look at questions that have a 1 in front of the x squared. Well, we don't write the 1, but 1x squared. There's not 2, 3, no minuses, just 1x squared. Next video, we'll look at what happens if I put another number here. Spoiler, it's a lot harder. In fact, it's too hard for a lot of students. I recommend a lot of them do future methods, methods we will do in a few videos. But for now, this one is certainly reasonable to do. But honestly, you don't have to learn it. If you don't like it, you can skip the next 3 videos and start from there. You will still learn how to solve these. Okay, so these questions all look like this. X squared plus something x plus something. Now, you might not believe me that they all look like this. For example, lots of students say, wait a minute, there's a minus here. And I wrote a plus. But no, this could be the same. This is x squared plus minus 3x plus 2, or plus 2 if you'd rather. all of these questions can be wrote in this way. All of them can be wrote this way. And I'm going to get an answer. Now I'll spoil the first answer. So I'm going to put the first answer up here because they're all going to look, well, maybe I won't put it up there. You know what, I won't put it up there yet. But all the answers are going to look like this. Of these questions. Of questions when I have just an x here. They're going to look like x here, plus some number. I'll give it a letter this time. I'll give it A instead of this box. I didn't want to use letters up here because that'd be too many letters for a lot of students. Plus B. Every answer is going to look like this. X plus A. Now just be careful, there might be a minus though. That's because A might equal minus 2. Then it becomes X plus minus 2, which is just like X minus 2. So don't be afraid of that. Okay, so every answer is going to look like this. Right, what do I do? Well, we know how to multiply brackets. You don't have to believe me, but I've just made this up. You don't have to believe me. We'll prove it in a couple of videos. But for now, I'm telling you this. That's how we factorize. Somebody's told you this. Somebody's telling you these tricks. Well, no, I guess I don't need to prove it too much. But still, this idea that it will look like this is something I'm telling you. But you will see it's true in a moment. We'll see it's true by doing this. Multiply two brackets. We've already done this. We get x squared. We get, well, I'll do this one next. ax plus ax. Then I'll do this one, bx. Then I'll do this one, ab. Okay, that looks a little like here. X squared, no x, no x. Okay, there's two. So we just need to add these together. But we should be doing that anyway. We should be adding all the x squares together. That's the only one. X squared. We should be adding all the x's together. Now here's where a lot of students get terrified at this. But if this was 2x and 3x, you'd get 5x. 2 plus 3. If it was 4x minus 1x, it would be 2 plus minus 1x is 1x. We just add these two numbers together, whatever they are. A plus B x. That's how we've always done this. I think most students would be happy if these were numbers and I added them together. Even if it was a minus, I hope a lot of you would be okay. But here they are, they're as letters. But that's fine, we should be happy with this. If we're not, ask me in the comments, ask me more about this. I'll see if I can help. Plus AB. Now, this looks exactly like this one. The truth is, every question, if this is the answer, every question will look like this. A plus B plus AB. Now I'm going to rub all this out just so it looks just like the same over here. But, well, let me get this lines first because that's an easy one. So we were given a question that looked like this. X squared, something, minus 3, x plus something, plus 2. Now I'm telling you that every answer will look like this. You don't have to believe me, but you should. You should. Go ahead and believe me. You do have to believe me because I just showed you. I just multiplied it back out and showed you that it is the same as this. So this is an answer. It is a factorization. Yeah, okay, do believe me. Go ahead and believe me. So we now know this and this are the same. These are equal to each other. So that means I can write an answer here already. X and X. Because X's are already known. Whereas the only work I have to do up here is to think of a number, A and B. Think of two numbers that multiply together to get 2. to get plus 2. And I have to think of two numbers, the same two numbers, to add together to get minus 3. So let's do that down here maybe. We'll always start with here. It's nice and easy. Think of all the numbers that multiply to get 2. 2 is equal to 1 multiplied by 2. It's equal to 2 multiplied by 1. Don't worry, you don't have to do both of these. These are the same because the x is the same. In the next video, unfortunately, there will be different numbers here. So you will have to do 2 of them. But for now, no, that's okay. We'll ignore that one. So 1, 2, that's it. A lot of students think that's all. It's not, and you have to be careful because the answer is not this. Let's see why. This is let's say this is A, and this is B. So that'd be plus 1 and plus 2. Let's see what happens. What is A plus B? Well, A plus B is 3. Again, it looks okay, but it's not. It's not quite. We need a minus number. We need a minus 3. This is a plus 3. Okay, that's okay. There's still another possibility. Minus 1 and minus 2. They multiply together to get 2. They're also equal to, put a little box here, and I'll use this box again. What do these add together? A. Let me make a bigger box actually. In fact, let's put in B. Let's put in A. So we have to think of them. Yeah, let's put in 2 and 2 here. 1 and 2. A is 1, B is 2. A multiplied by B is 2. A plus B is 3. That doesn't quite work. We need 2 and we need minus 2. So what other possibilities will get this one? Well, minus 1, minus 2. Let's see what happens. What is minus 1 and another minus 2? You owe €1. You owe another €2. Well, you owe €3. Alright. That's the one. That is the one that works. These two numbers work. So I can put in the answer as A plus minus 1. Sorry, X plus minus 2. Now, I would never write that. I wouldn't write plus there. We all know what plus minus 1 is. It's just minus 1. We all know what plus minus 2 is. It's just minus 2. That's how we write it. And that's how we do it. You don't need to write this every time. You can do a lot of this in your head. This is just asking yourself a few simple questions. What multiplies to get this number? And adds to get this number. That's all I'm doing. Multiplies to get this number. Adds to get this number. Let's try that again. I'm not going to use that box again. I don't really like that box. Big messy. If you're going to do that much work, just skip 2 videos and you can do the work with me in that video. It'll work every time. Because these questions only work for simple, easy questions. Let's try it again. 15. What multiplies to get, minus 15. What multiplies to get minus 15? Maybe 5 and minus 3. Maybe 15 and minus 1. Maybe minus 5 and plus 3. Maybe minus 15 and plus 1. There's a good few options here. But you can just think, I might advise writing these out, but you can just think through some of them in your head. Already, multiply to get 15 adds to get 2. Well, it's not going to be these two. Really, is it? 15 plus minus 1 is 14. Minus 15 plus 1 is minus 14. Right, it's not them. Okay, what about these two? 5 plus minus 3. You have €5. You owe a debt. You owe 15. You owe €3. You have €2 left. No, not right. I need minus 2. Not this. Here we go. Minus 5 plus 3 equals minus 2. Let me write this one out actually, just so it's clearer. 5 plus minus 3 equals 2. That one's wrong again. So then here's our right answer, minus 5 and 3. That is simply, so I can just write my answer. It's x plus minus 5. X plus 3. Again, I would never write it like this, I don't think. Well, I would sometimes. I'm doing it right now. I would just write minus 5. I wish I could go back and get every student never to learn minus, always to write this every time. It would be extra work, but I think it's worth it until they learn. Because I see so many students do not understand plus and minus well enough. Okay, so the last one. Ask yourself, what is the answer going to be? The answer is going to be an x, definitely, and an x here. I'm asking you what two numbers make 8. It's 8 and 1, 2 and 4. That's it. It has to be a minus 8 though. It has to be 2 and minus 4 maybe. It has to be 4 or minus 2. Remember, we have to get to a plus 2. Write some of them out. If you're not quite ready yet, 8 and 1. I'm sorry, minus 8 and 1. Minus 1 and 8. How about 2, minus 2 and 4? How about minus 4 and 2? Let's see. 7, no. Sorry, minus 7, no. Plus 7, no. Plus 2, yes, there we go. Finished, don't care about this one. Let's check it anyway. Minus 2, no. This is the correct answer here. This one is the correct answer. Minus 2 plus 4. It's as simple as that. You can do these very quickly if you learn how to. But be warned, not every question will work like this. If you cannot do this in your head, maybe it's not possible. For example, here's a question that's not possible. X squared plus 3x minus 5. That will not work. There's 5 and 1 are the only multiples of 5. They cannot make a 3. You cannot solve this question in your head. You cannot solve this question easily, but we can factorize it, and we will learn how to factorize it in a couple of videos called Making the Square. Quadratics, completing a square, perhaps I'll call it. So it's still possible to answer questions like this, to factorize, but the answer will be much, much messier. It would be, I don't know it in my head, I'm afraid, but it'll be something like x plus 3 plus the square root of 29 maybe over 2, something like that. Like, the answer is going to be messy and awkward, but it's still an answer. There is still an answer to this question. Don't assume this is correct. I'm probably wrong. I just tried to do it in my head, and it's probably not correct. But it is possible to do these questions, but not in this easy method. Not in your head, not using fractions and factors. Something else I'll say before I finish. Lots of people have rules how to do this. So the sign that's here means both signs are the same. So if it's a plus, they're both the same. If it's a minus, they're both different. Minus, the signs are different. If you're happy to do rules like that, that's fine. Like if it's a minus, that means one of them is a minus and they're both the same. If it's a minus, one of them is a minus and they're both different. It's a plus, one of them is a plus and they're both different. There's lots of rules how to do these. If you find that useful, that's brilliant. But honestly, I'd rather doing it a slower way like I just did. Or I'd rather not doing it at all. I'd rather doing completing the square, which we will do in a couple of videos. So next video, I will look at questions that are more like this. X squared plus something x squared plus something x plus something. A little harder. You can still do it in your head, but it's a lot harder. So tune in then and have a good day. Bye.